Welcome to the Tire Bros Invitational as part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Today in our first semifinal game from the HP Fieldhouse in Orlando, the Clemson Tigers take on number 11th ranked Xavier Musketeers. Alongside former UVA and NBA point guard Corey Alexander and Alvaro Martin, the stage is set for a great duel between teams that won yesterday in the quarterfinals. Clemson survived an early barrage of threes from Davidson, and then they applied the defensive plan.
And they turned that defense into offense, turning 16 Davidson turnovers into 21 points on the offensive end. Brad Brownell's team turned it up on the defensive end.
Meanwhile, Xavier had his hands full against a Missouri team that played him tough all the way through an overtime.
And Xavier had a tough time scoring, but it was a miscue by Terrence Phillips that bailed them out. Edmund Sumner going to the line, making one of 2 free throws to give the Musketeers a win.
Very quickly, we take a look at the starting lineup presented to you by Zales.
And when you look at the Clemson lineup, you have to immediately think about Jerron Blossomgame, all ACC performer a year ago, but needs a big performance here today to be able to give his team a win.
Meanwhile, Xavier had, of course, its 2 lauded guards in Edmund Sumner and Trayvon Blewett, and they did not have the great game everybody expected them to have against Missouri.
And as a team, they shot 2 for 22, 9.1% from three-point range. That's going to have to change here today if they want to beat this stout Clemson defense.
Clemson only had 8 turnovers, 8 against Davidson. And their guard play was phenomenal. Gabe DeVoe and Avery Holmes did a great job. So, Sidi Jite and Sean O'Mara will do the honors, and Xavier wins the tip. This is only, depending on how you see Xavier, some polls have him number 10, some of them number 11. This is only the 3rd game that Clemson plays against a team ranked in the top 10. Only the 6th time that they played a non-conference foe that is ranked. It's a great opportunity for Brad Brownell and his team to make a mark they already have by winning against Davidson.
And this matchup between Trayvon Blewett and Jerron Blossomgame is going to be a big one. I had both these guys at the Nike Basketball Academy this summer and saw them go at it a few times, but the stakes are different here.
DeVoe with a nice move and the opening score. It's one of the heroes of the win by Xavier, J.P. McCura.
And this game is so important, and probably more so for Clemson. Clemson missed out on the NCAA tournament last year because of what they did in their non-conference schedule. If J.P. McCura comes off and knocks down a three-pointer. But this is a quality game that Clemson needs to try to get in order to boost their chances once they get into conference play.
How about the matchup between McCura and Dante Grantham?
Well, that's going to be different because, of course, Grantham having to guard someone smaller, but McCura, of course, is the emotional leader that makes a lot of winning plays for Xavier.
A drive. What a shot.
And you say what a shot as though you were amazed. Chris Mack says what a shot as if, what are you doing taking this shot? At the end of the day, it's way too early in the shot clock for that one. J.P. McCura doesn't make many mistakes, but that one right there, I'm not sure that's the one that Chris Mack wanted to see him take.
Made one of the headiest plays in the tournament as he called that timeout, leaving just a couple of ticks on the clock. Backdoor move! Jite with the pass.
And that is great action by Brad Brownell's group. And the reason why it's so successful is because you have to respect the shooting ability of Grantham. You have to go over the screen, which opens up nothing with no help on the backside for him to get the easy 2.
O'Mara sealing off. Chris Mack unhappy with the win. He didn't think his team had executed very well.
He was happier getting the win than having to teach the lesson in the loss.
Chris Mack in his 8th year, named Coach of the Year by the U.S. Basketball Writers Association last year. As we have the first foul on O'Mara.
And also played,
second foul.
Also played at Xavier, so he's all in with the Musketeer family. He's a guy that's got all stakes in the game simply because he's an alum of the school and the head coach of the program, and there's no place he wants to be more so than where he is right now.
And he's got himself a nice, beautiful program moving up. 3rd straight season going to the NCAA tournament. And you see a quick foul on Grantham, a reaching foul.
And that's the type of plays that J.P. Macura makes for his team. Winning plays, coming up with a steal, and Grantham out of frustration picks up that foul. And that's one where you have to really be able to restrain from, compounding the mistake. You made the mistake in the turnover. Just get back on defense. Don't give yourself a foul to where you have to be tentative for the remainder of the first half by picking up a cheap one there.
A drive by Sumner. Blocking foul by Jite. Meanwhile,
and Jite does not get outside of the restricted area. You see that right foot on the restricted arc. 2 years ago, that might have been an offensive foul, but they increased the lane from 3 feet to 4 feet, made it a little bit bigger, and Jite unable to get over there. And a very smart play. Caught Grantham sleeping. Sumner and Macura just kind of making quick eye contact and seeing that was going to be open, but while Sumner takes the ball out of bounds.
Grantham with the three. It's in.
Well, you brought up the matchup between these two, and they're going to be integral parts of their respective teams, and it's got off to a good start early. A number of great matchups in this game, as well as seeing Avery Holmes and Sumner at the point guard position, two guys who were very influential in their team's wins yesterday.
The matchups all over the floor. You want to see Macura. Another one of those lefty weird shots with 8 seconds to shoot. The ball belongs to Clemson.
And this only happens with experience and playing, with guys for a period of time. You see it's not much there. That's probably something that was communicated before. Macura gets the bucket, but on the other end, the kick out. Grantham now with over 100 three-pointers on the season. I'm sorry, not on the season, but in his career at Clemson, knocks down another one.
DeVoe muscling his way in. It was such a tough game. Several players fouled out on both sides between Xavier and Missouri. Another turnover.
It's interesting to see how Xavier responds from their game yesterday, especially Blewett, who didn't have much of a game offensively, made a big basket.
A tip in and a foul. Jite draws the foul from Rashid Gaston.
And Chris Mack not happy about the fact that not only that foul was called, but it was called late. As you see, the tip was already up. Jite does a great job getting interior position on Gaston. Gaston now picks up his second foul. But right now, I believe the official may have called it on the second jump where Gaston pushes Jite in the back. But that's 2 fouls already on Gaston, who now has to go to the bench, bringing in Jones, the freshman. Foul trouble already for the bigs for Xavier.
Well, we had Blewett with foul trouble in the last game. A couple of quick fouls in the first half, then a couple of quick fouls that up to 4 at the beginning of the second half. Gaston played 27 minutes, tops off the bench, 12 points, 10 boards. He got himself his signature in the bubble. Back in Cincinnati, they have a bubble in which they practice rebounding. If you top 10 boards, you get to sign it. Blewett, nice.
And that's a big bucket. He and Sumner combined did not make a three-pointer yesterday. As a team, Xavier was 2 for 22. So I'm sure it feels good for Blewett to see one go to the rim from beyond the three-point line.
Huge rebound by Sumner. Seconds left in the shot clock. Macura bets on himself.
But Macura is a shooter. He is more than capable of making those shots. And for Gabe DeVoe, you have to take away that airspace. Yes, he's a couple feet behind the three-point line, but he's proven that he's capable of knocking down that jumper.
Nice reach in. A fight for the ball. And a timeout by Xavier. Marquise Reed in the scrum. It's a 3-point Musketeer lead. Timeout, Xavier.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Tire Pros. Take the hassle out of tire buying. Find your local dealer today at TirePros.com. And Gildan, your favorite t-shirt.
The threes are coming back for Xavier.
Well, Xavier's already made three-point field goals, which is one more than they made the entire game versus Missouri yesterday. Blew it, knocking down one. Mikura already 2 3-pointers, 2 for 2 from beyond the arc for him. And Xavier 3 for 4 to start off the game. One of the main reasons they have this 3-point lead early.
Xavier had been shooting 24% behind the arc after their first 3 games. A tough win against Lehigh. A blowout over Buffalo, and then that tough overtime against Missouri yesterday at the Tire Pros Invitational here in Orlando. Some of the chief culprits: Summer 1 for 7, Blewett 4 for 16. Mikura, of course, against Missouri, a tremendous game.
Boy, and not only were his numbers great, as well as you look at Edmund Summers' numbers from yesterday, he didn't have a great floor game, but made the plays when it matters. But Mikura's timeout with 1.7 seconds left in that overtime was probably the biggest play that he made, and he made a lot of big plays yesterday, but that one really was the game-winning play for his group.
Remember, the game was tied. They weren't down, but it allowed him to make that final attempt and then got the foul and the free throw to win. Blossom game right now, 0 for 2, no points. And very quickly, a couple of Xavier post players have foul trouble.
Well, yeah, you've got the 5 position for Xavier, which yesterday combined for 25 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocked shots. But both of those guys, Amara and Gaston, right now, both on the bench with 2 fouls early in this game.
Blossom game, one of the top players in the ACC, one of the top players in the nation.
That's already the 3rd turnover for Clemson, something they've done a great job of. Only 16 turnovers in their first 2 games. Right there, officials calling that a carry, putting your hand underneath the basketball. Good call. But Clemson not as efficient on offense early in this game as they've been the first 2 games of their season.
They had 16 assists and 8 turnovers against Davidson, 2-1 as a team. Foul on Legend Robertson. Young man from London, England.
You know, one of the benefits with O'Mara and Gaston being on the bench, Robertson with 1 foul, Sidi Jate has 1 foul, but if the bigs do get in foul trouble for Clemson, you can play Blossom Game and Grantham up front.
Oh, another long-range shot by Mikura. Xavier's on a 9-0 run.
And that's just something where you have to be able to take what you read in the scouting report and apply it into the game. More importantly, Mikura, you've seen him make 2 3-pointers already. Take away his space, make him put the ball on the floor and have to drive past you, in comparison, allow him to just pick you off from outside the arc.
Oh, he traveled, he shifted his left pivot foot slightly.
You have to understand when a guy has the hot hand, Reed has to see that Mikura is in shooting position as you look at the bench react. Xavier bench very happy about the fact that one of their leaders, J.P. Mikura, getting off to a great start in this game.
Young man from Minnesota, junior, 6th man last year, steps up to the starting role. Coaches affectionately nickname him Dennis the Menace. He's always, here we go. Here we go, 3 for 3. Why draw the line for him? He doesn't need a 3-point line. J.P. Mikura 14, Clemson 10.
And Mikura actually has 4 3-pointers early in this game, 4 for 4. So he is shooting the ball extremely well and with a lot of confidence. And now you see Clemson's offense getting sped up and out of sorts. But right now, if you're on Clemson for defensively, you better make sure that you find Mikura.
Jones. Nice move by Reed. The ball's being fought over, and here comes McCure again. A strip by Reed. Beautiful play. Holmes. Alley-ooping. No way! But the foul is on Jones. Tyreek Jones with the hustle play.
Well, a lot of bodies on the floor, big bodies flying around, a lot of action. However, in all the action, there's been one star so far. We got a little bit of altercation on the court right now. Brad Brownell, Chris Mack both coming on the court to gather their guys for the timeout. But we told you this was going to be a man's game. A lot of testosterone flowing in this one. Both teams wanting a win really bad. And the Xavier Musketeers have gotten off to a great start. And no one has started off better than J.P. McCure. Now 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. And we also have a physical play at the end, sparking just a little bit of conversation.
Nine-point lead for Xavier on a 12-0 run in the last 6 Clemson possessions.
But 14 of those 19 points have come from J.P. McCure, who at this point would have to be considered on fire. And he gets further and further away from the three-point line as he lets him go, this time well beyond NBA range as he holds the follow-through. Don't blow on his hand because right now you don't want to put out the fire.
Not at all. And there's some chippiness after that play when Tyreek Jones blocked the shot. They're looking precisely at that right now. Let's see the shot, the alley-oop.
Well, that's not the concern right there. Honestly, that looked like a clean block. But it's at this point right now where guys get gathered. As you see, Jones just knocked the ball out of bounds. It's really not, I mean, again, bodies come together, but both guys going after the basketball. But the problem came in afterwards where guys came in to get their teammates and get everyone out of the way, and a lot of jawing started happening. That's where the confrontation was the conversation after the play. It really wasn't about the play.
Okay.
No issues because there was a timeout on the floor. Guys started coming out on the floor, but it was a timeout. So therefore, not a problem. No harm, no foul. Keep on moving forward and playing basketball.
Literally no foul. 0 for 2, 4 turnovers for Clemson in their last 6 offensive possessions. Tough dish by Reed.
And again, Clemson's offense being sped up. Guys really trying to do a little bit too much right now. There was no passing angle for Reed right there. If you're going to attack the basket, especially with the way the game is going right now, the officials are going to make sure they keep it under control. So when there's contact, there's going to be a whistle blown. That's one, if you've got a lane to attack the basket, you've got to take your opportunity.
He's human. As McCure misses a 3.
I don't think anyone in the gym that's a Xavier fan minds him taking that shot. After as hot as he's been, that's just a heat check.
Quentin Good on the court for Xavier. Nice concept, but Tyreek Jones didn't cut to the basket.
As you see right here, and honestly, if Jones goes to the other side of the floor, gets into himself in a better angle to be able to receive that basketball, that will be a layup. I like the idea by Gooden. But again, you're talking about 2 freshmen with experience. They will have that right, but early in the season, it becomes a turnover.
The point guard gets the turnover statistically, but whose fault was it, you think?
Well, it's the point guard. It's always the point guard's fault. That's one of the things that you learn when you're a point guard.
Sumner with another rebound. Becoming habitual for him. And he misses this drive. Averaging almost 6 boards per game, second on the team in rebounding. DeVoe from the corner.
Gabe DeVoe continues his hot start, but we've got to keep an eye on this Blossom Game Blewett matchup. These 2 guys, after every play, there's something going on, and that's something the officials are going to have to make sure that they keep clean as this game goes on. 2 guys that are big-time competitors.
Grantham with the interception. And a foul by McCure on the drive by Reed.
And you love to see guys intense and playing hard, but at the same time, you've got to make sure that it's a clean game. This time, Grantham getting a big steal, Reed getting out in transition. The foul on Makura, who, for the most part, went up vertically.
And he makes the first. Reed, a transfer from Robert Morris. He was the Northeast Conference Rookie of the Year, scoring 15 points per game. He's a scorer.
He is that, but he's also taking on the challenge of being a defender, and that's one of the things that Brad Brownell asked him to do more so as he's getting his opportunities to play. He's got to be an impact player on the defensive end, and right now taking on the task of guarding a preseason All-American, Edmund Sumner.
Fluid, guarded by Gite. Reed attacks. Oh, fall, there's no room for him. He just stepped out of bounds.
Another turnover for Clemson. And they're shooting the ball well. It's simply about getting shots at the rim. Already 7 turnovers for the Tigers, only 8 in their 2 previous games.
Sumner, contact, and it's good, and the foul.
And a great decision by Sumner. After giving up the basketball, relocates to the open spot and does a great job taking it to the chest of Sidi Jite. Not only does he finish, but more importantly, puts a second foul on Jite, sending him to the bench, which probably will be for the remainder of the first half. Actually, Brad Brownell going to keep him out there and trust his senior big man to stay out of foul trouble.
That's been an issue for him in the past. Good with the ball up ahead. Xavier trying to get some early offense.
And again, that's one of those plays. Jite does a great job of staying vertical, but it's so risky right there to take that chance.
Grantham. Become Malcolm Bernard, who blocked Terrence Phillips' shot. Quiet, effective defender for Xavier. And, of course, a rebounder. You better be. Fluid guard by Holmes now. And he makes the basket. The pass was offline. Malcolm picked it up, rejiggered, and shot.
But the thing was, there was the pass by Blewett, and Blewett did a great job of attracting the attention of the Clemson defense and looking to the opposite side, finding the open man.
Oh, we've seen that a couple of times a game. A beautiful drive to the basket by DeVoe. Frustrating all the opposing bigs. Foul, a push in the back by Tyreek Jones. That is Tyreek's second. So 2 on Gaston, 2 on O'Mara, 2 on Jones. O'Mara comes back in. Makura comes back in. Sumner will take a break.
Risky move paying off so far for Brad Brownell, keeping Jite in the game with those 2 fouls. And as he now sends Legend Robertson to the table to try to get Jite out of there. If Jite had made the free throws, he would have been able to get him out, so he didn't have to play on this defensive possession.
You know, they're thinking about that 3rd foul, right?
And O'Mara back in the game now with his 2 fouls.
Three seconds on O'Mara. Malcolm Bernard can play some defense, but he can shoot as well.
And Bernard finding the right spot as you see Blewett Even though it wasn't a great pass, it was effective as Xavier holds an 8-point lead.
Sunday at 5:30 Eastern, we've got the NCAA Women's Basketball Champions for the past 4 seasons on ESPN. Number 3 UConn Huskies are in Baton Rouge to battle the LSU Lady Tigers at the Pete Maravich Center as part of Peace Week presented by Lowe's. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
And Edmund Sumner taken to the back with the training staff. Not sure what's going on there, but of course you never want to see anyone out of the game, but that would be a huge loss for Xavier if he's not able to get back in and perform up to his normal standards.
He's coming right back to the bench, and he sits down right now. Blossom game.
But a lot of attention around him from the training staff and his teammates.
Blossom game is now 0 for 3. Oh, he faked the pass and he took the shot.
Well, Blewett has gotten off to a much better start here today than he did yesterday. Missed his first 7 field goal attempts yesterday before getting a layup. And right now, he's been the guy, and not only on the offensive end, but he's doing the job defensively as well. As you mentioned, Blossom game struggling on his offensive side.
DeVoe tried the alley-oop with Robertson. No basket. No basket, says referee Brian O'Connell.
Trayvon Blewett on the wing. He's a tough cover for anyone, but right here, Blossom game gives him just too much space. That's like a layup for a guy like Blewett getting to his spot and knocking down that elbow jump shot. And he's a guy that if you give him opportunities to get easy buckets, you got to watch out because it'll just start snowballing and he can rack up points in a hurry.
Blewett, of course, a young man that went to the NBA Combine and ended up with an eye-opening experience and a lot of feedback. Ended up losing 12 pounds and other things to get ready for the next step. To be a good year for Xavier and then eventually a pro career. Oh, definitely travel.
Well, you've got that actually on both sides, and it's that matchup, which is one of the reasons it makes it so intriguing. The matchup between Blossom game and Blewett together. Both these guys actually tested the waters of the NBA and decided to come back to school. And talking to a number of the NBA scouts here between games, they were a little concerned about Missouri yesterday and that this matchup wouldn't have happened if Missouri would have won.
DeVoe, what a rebound by Grantham, and the putback.
And Dante Grantham coming up with a big offensive board and putback. And that's what Brad Brownell wants to see more of him. Be more than just a shooter, and he shows you glimpses of that capability.
Sumner back on the court, back on the floor. We have a jump ball possession over to Clemson.
And Xavier takes pride in their defensive rebounding, but this time is Dante Grantham winning the battle on the glass. The offensive rebound, the left-handed putback, and exactly what Clemson needed at that stretch, as well as a stop on the defensive end, and now an opportunity to cut a little more into this lead. And if you're Brad Brownell, you don't need guys to go make hero shots and hero plays. Just try to chip away at the lead step by step.
Yeah, down 8. Holmes launches a 3.
And that's not a hero shot because that's what Avery Holmes does. He makes big threes, and that was a huge shot right there for the Tigers.
Had an off year in terms of three-point shooting last year, wants to come back and regain that reputation. Cura gets hammered on the way to the basket. And again, you have to keep the teams away from each other here.
Well, that really wasn't much there. It was simply the whistle blew earlier on the floor. So as McCura goes to the basket, so right now the whistle blows there. McCura goes to the basket and there's contact, but the ball is already dead right there. The officials get out there, make sure they keep everybody. They know the tensions are high in this game.
Trayvon Blewett.
We're seeing some small ball from both these teams. Both have big guys in foul trouble. Jones, the 6'9" freshman for Xavier, the biggest guy on the court. But just because they're not as tall doesn't mean they're not as strong, because you've got a number of physical specimens on the court right now.
Bucks and 1 defense now for Xavier. They have no offensive boards in this game. The Musketeers. None. Now the point guard gets the ball with 14 seconds to shoot. Macura bails him out. Now there's your first offensive rebound.
But Johnny on the spot. Macura in the right place at the right time, and he seems to be the guy that's always in the right place at the right time for Xavier.
Lawson game. Nice strip by Macura again. Oh, crossover dribble all the way to the basket. Wow, we thought he had a great game against Missouri. Well, I got news for you. He's got 18.
He took a hard hit on that fall, though. You see him get up, rubbing the back of his head.
Holmes from the other angle. Wow.
This one's fun.
Yeah.
No question about it. These guys are getting after Macura with another 3.
Oh, yeah. It matters. Macura with a career high, and we've got 3.5 to go in the first half. Grantham with great anticipation. Blossom game. Gets fouled.
That's a very good foul by Malcolm Bernard. Blossom game has not been able to get going offensively, and you don't let him get going there. But speaking of getting going offensively, J.P. Macura getting the job done. 21 of the 34 Xavier points early in this game. Not only is he a three-point shooter, but he can find his way to the rim to finish. And when you're that hot, you don't have a choice but to take the next 3 when the ball touches your hands. Macura on fire.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Dino. We'll be back with them at halftime. We've got 3:12 to go in this first half, and this timeout. Will that cool down J.P. Macura?
Well, that's the only thing that's going to cool him down, is keeping the ball out of his hands. 21 points right now, a career high in 20, not quite 27 minutes of work. He's only played 14 minutes. So when you think about his 21 points, the rest of the Xavier team with 13 points, 5 for 14, they would be in a heap of trouble if number 55 were not on their team tonight.
Competitive, feisty, those are the words that are used by the coaching staff to describe him. A coach's son as well. Becoming a starter, becoming a peasant. Here comes Jerron Blossom game. Can't even make that free throw.
Well, and the thing is, we mentioned going into halftime, that was a great foul by Malcolm Bernard to not let Blossom Game see the ball go through the basket. And I'm not sure if that's what he was thinking on the way back, but it turns out to be a great foul because he comes away with 1 point instead of 2. But more importantly, he runs back somewhat shaking his head like, I can't get it going. And that's something that can get in your mind as an offensive threat.
2 boards, 1 assist so far in the first half. And put back by Tyreek Jones.
And Xavier now starting to flex his muscle on the glass. And that's one of the things they take pride in, but the offensive rebound and putback by Jones. And he's only big on the court, so he has to be effective in that way.
Foul by Jones on Blossom Game. 3rd foul.
And a good drive by Bernard. The great help defense by Blossom Game, but as he peels off of Jones, Jones does a great job tracking the ball down and right in the position for him to be able to put it back. But Jones now picking up his 3rd foul. He's going to have to go sit back down. So all of the bigs, when you talk about Gaston, O'Mara, and Jones, now have 2+ fouls. And that's something that could be a problem for Xavier going into the second half because, again, you think about the way that they like to play and be physical on the interior, but with all their bigs in foul trouble, they may have to play a little small ball.
He makes both 3 points off free throws, went to the NBA Draft Combine, the Nike Skills Academy, the Adidas Nations, went everywhere this summer, also trying to get ready for a pro job. Oh, again. It's a 2, though.
It doesn't matter. At this point, you cannot allow him to get the shot off. Make him go by you. If you're Clemson defensively, you just flat because he's not even having to look at the rim right now. It's that simple. It's that easy. Look, this is a tough shot. But when you back up, Reed backs up off of him a second, just giving him enough room to get that shot off. Never back up. Make him drive the ball past you.
And a timeout being called by Brett Brownell. Team is down now 11 to Xavier.
J.P. McCure can put together his own highlight package off of one half, and he's done it all. Offensive rebounds, attacking the glass, getting the job done defensively, coming up with the strip on Blossom game. Again, attacking the rim, but where he's been most effective is beyond the three-point arc, knocking down shots all over the floor. Now 24 points, I believe, for him. 23 points. 23 points. That last one was a 2, but he has 23 of Xavier's 38 points. I mean, he's been a one-man wrecking crew here this afternoon for the Musketeers.
On 12 shots. 12 shots.
That is a great game for pretty much every player. And he's done that in a half.
"20 seconds left on the shot clock here for Clemson off the timeout. Drive by Grantham. There you go.
That is a nice play by Grantham. Knowing that Xavier has to respect his three-point shooting ability, putting his head down and finding his way to the rim.
Second time he scored near the rim today. Blew it. Facing the basket, the assist by the point guard Sumner.
And Blewett has been much more aggressive here offensively today. A lot of it has to do with the fact that he's been on the court. He's not battling foul trouble. He's out there, and he's taken on the challenge of guarding Blossom game.
Nice bucket by Grantham. Now, Sumner now has 4 assists and 1 turnover.
A much better floor game than he had yesterday, but when you got a guy shooting the ball as well as McCure, it doesn't take much to get assists. Just make sure he gets it.
Give it to 55. Last minute of the half. Tough shot by Gaston.
And a great defensive effort by Blossom game. Regardless as to way how he's played on the offensive end, he's still competed defensively.
The ball squares up, but he can't make it. And now they're holding it for the final possession of the half with a 9-point lead. The Musketeers, see what they have in mind. Oh, inside. Oh, what a move by Grantham. Half-court heave. It's the front of the rim. That is the end of an exciting first half.
And that was an unbelievable recovery by Grantham. You almost can see this as a dunk, but Grantham comes from nowhere to deny 2 points and even more momentum at the half for Xavier.
9-point Xavier lead over Clemson. Let's go to the studio with Brendan and Dino. Welcome to the Tire Pros Invitational as part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. It's our first semifinal game from Orlando. Xavier Musketeers leading the Clemson Tigers by 9 alongside former UVA and NBA point guard Corey Alexander. I'm Alvaro Martin. Welcome back to the HB Fieldhouse, and it's been the J.P. Macura show in the first half.
And J.P. Macura has done it in so many different ways. Offensive rebound, putback, and then, of course, shooting not only an NBA three, but well beyond that, knocking it down, then attacking the rim on the fast break. And he's put so much pressure on this offense, especially with his ability to stretch the floor from beyond the arc. On the other side for Clemson, it hasn't been Blossom game, but it's been Dante Grantham who's gotten the job done. He's knocked down a couple three-pointers as well, but more importantly, it's the offensive rebounding and it's the attacking the rim that has helped Grantham keep his team in this game in the first half. But they're going to need more production, not only from Grantham, but from their superstar, Jerron Blossomgame.
Well, you talked about how the scouting report for Macura left him some space to shoot the first couple threes. He came into this game missing 12 of his 14 three-pointers attempted so far this season. Today, he is 5 for 6. Made the first 4, then missed his first one. As Blewett tries to get his own rebound, O'Mara gets it. Oh no, here we go. In and out.
Don't say, oh no. That's the guy you want to see shoot the basketball. Unless you're Clemson.
Here comes the bow. It's good.
And Gabe DeBow has really just been a steadying force for Clemson. And yet when you have a guy go off with 23 points in the first half, you would assume that's a blowout. But after that three-pointer by DeBow, you now have a 6-point game. So Clemson is not in bad shape right now.
2 of 6 behind the arc. Offensive foul by Bernard.
And that's a great play by Sidi Jite. Instead of him trying to block the shot, he sets up well outside the restricted area, takes the contact to the chest. Great call by the officials there calling that one. And that was an easy call to make. That's one where, again, you have to be able to pull up and shoot the jump shot when you see a guy waiting for you to run over top of him.
Jite starting the second half with 3 fouls. He didn't get that call because he didn't get in position on a similar play in the first half. They're fronting Blossomgame. They're just denying him the ball. Holmes loses it. Oh, a foul by Blossomgame against Blewett, and we've had those two go at each other in the first half.
They really have. These two have been competing, and you're talking about two guys that the NBA scouts here are, wanting to see a lot of, Blossomgame as well as Blewett. And it's been a physical matchup between the two of them, but right now Blewett has had more of an impact on this game than has Blossomgame.
Blewett makes the free throw. Snaka has 9 points. It's his first free throw. The second one only for Xavier and Chris Mack's team so far in the game.
And Blewett had a good half, overshadowed by a great half by Macura. But you have to like the way that Blewett has come back after a subpar game for him yesterday. He's come back with a lot of energy, especially on the defensive end.
Blossomgame. And the fouls before the shot by Blewett. His first.
And Blewett got the foul because he actually put both arms on Blossomgame. You can have one bent arm bar, but when you put both of them up, and the official demonstrated it to the score table, when you put both up, it's going to be called as a foul.
Seconds.
No, actually, they got a foul on Grantham on that one.
Yeah, it's a second.
Right there, offensive foul on Grantham. As you see, actually not set, but setting more of a pick. That's almost like a football play with the illegal pick going across the field instead of him setting a screen.
O'Mara, drop step, left-handed.
And that's a great play designed by Chris Mack in order to make sure they attack the paint. O'Mara hasn't had much of an input because of foul trouble.
Beautiful three-pointer by Blossomgame.
And that has to feel good for Blossomgame to see it go through. Did not make a field goal in the first half, only 2 points off of free throws. So he's got to be feeling better after seeing that go through.
Step back shot by Blewett. He's getting into the game as well. Jite fed by Blossom Game.
And that could be a technical foul there. That was a mistake by City Jite. And the number of reasons why that could be a technical foul. One, there was an obvious push, but more importantly, that's affecting the ball before it's actually come in bounds. You see Jite gets knocked down, gets up frustrated, and just tosses Blewett. But the ball, that's basically an inbounder throwing the ball in. That's a dead ball. That should be a technical foul. And not only if it's called a personal foul, that would be the fourth on Jite.
Yeah.
I don't think of any other way the officials can actually call this one. A great play pass by Blossom Game. Jite not happy about the fact that he doesn't get a call, but you can't compound it with making the mistake. There's no reason for him to actually even contact Blewett. Just get up, run back down the floor. Plays like that as a senior especially, knowing how important you are to this lineup, those are the plays that hurt you.
Blewett not established as an inbounder yet, but he got shoved and thrown out.
I would disagree with that. He's out of bounds. It's a dead ball. It's now a dead ball. Once the ball goes through the rim, it's a dead ball. So now all he can do is throw the ball inbounds. So therefore he is established as an inbounder. If you make a play on that, if you were just too close and hit the ball before they throw the ball inbounds, it's a technical foul. So therefore, any interference with him before he throws the ball inbounds is a technical foul.
Left foot was on the court. He probably was going to take another step to set himself up in inbound, but the shove is there. There's no question about it.
It's going to be interesting to see how they rule this.
Flagrant one foul on City Jite. His fourth.
Well, and of course, it's the right call. You know, and the officials, they know the rules better than we do, and they did the right thing by going over, reviewing it, and seeing what it was. And it's a flagrant one. It was not it was excessive. And honestly, Clemson's fortunate it wasn't a flagrant two because it was not a basketball play.
Right.
And so fortunate there, but it does give that foul to Jite as he stays in the game.
Yeah.
And so as he stays in the game, that will be his third foul. He had two in the first half, and that's his third.
Blewett. Huge rebound by DeVoe. Another shove underneath. Let's see. It's on O'Mara. Yeah.
As you see the shot by Grantham, and O'Mara now picking up his third foul. Shoving Jite out of the way as Gaston comes in. Gaston also playing in foul trouble.
Nice reversal. Another foul underneath.
And that was a risky play by Bernard there. He left Gabe DeVoe wide open for a three-pointer going after the steal. Xavier defensively was fortunate there. DeVoe wasn't unable to knock that down.
Gaston's third. We talked about how the post players for Xavier getting to foul trouble may be a factor in the half. We'll see. They're up 8, picking up fouls. A block by Gaston on Blossom game.
Great play by Gaston. Defending without fouling and really giving way to Blossom game until he commits to shooting.
Quick shot by Blossom game, and Jite knocks everybody over, including his teammate.
That's the way coaches teach you to go after the basketball. If that ball is yours, you got to go get it, even if it's somebody in the same color uniform with you competing for it.
Nice move by Jite, but he cannot finish. Most improved player last year for Clemson.
Sumner really hasn't been able to get on track offensively.
They are 0 for 5 in their last shots. And now we get a foul, and it's on Malcolm Bernard. 8-point Xavier lead. He's getting physical. Fouls are piling up.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's.
It's always a wonderful day at any of the Walt Disney resorts here at Walt Disney World in Orlando. But today is an especially happy day here. Why? Because Mickey is turning 88.
Absolutely. What else can you ask for to be at Disney World on the day that Mickey has his birthday? I want to be involved in the party with Mickey today.
I think he looks very spry for someone who's 88. Always happy.
Mickey always looking youthful, no question about that.
Do you know how many people he's made happy around the world over the years?
Billions?
Yes.
I would go with billions. That would be my guess.
Let's do a high 4 for him.
Is it 4? Yeah, I guess it would be 4. That would be 4. Sounds good.
88. Happy birthday to you, Mickey.
Happy birthday, Mickey.
The X points the way for Xavier fans as we welcome you back to the Tire Pros Invitational here at the HP Fieldhouse. You know, those ears help us listen to the game a little bit better.
Well, you know, my ears are similar to Mickey, so, I'm used to those. So the 2 sets of ears were knocking off my my earphones.
Zone by Xavier.
And not something you see a lot of from Chris Mack, but, they'll bring it out of time, especially after timeouts, to really just throw a team off their rhythm. And Blewett finding his rhythm offensively, turning defense into offense.
And gets a foul from Grantham.
And a great job, Makira once again making the play. Blewett will be the benefactor, getting out in the break, using their strong body to finish through the contact. But give J.P. Makira credit for getting a hand in there, coming up with the steal. We haven't seen him be the scorer that he was in the first half, but he still continues to make the winning plays for his team.
So Trayvon Blewett goes off into these NBA combines. He's got 16 points now. That was the 3rd foul on Grantham. And he comes back humbled. He comes back with getting some direct feedback from teams that took a look at him. And he's lost some weight. He's determined to... Oh, look at that beautiful movement. I got to tell you, Sidi Jite is making some unbelievable passes today.
He is, and you see his value to this team is why you get frustrated when you see him make a play, a bonehead play like he did, picking up the flagrant one, because that hurts his team. And a guy that is this valuable, you have to understand how important every possession matters.
Offensive foul by Jones, and I have to say, Jite just nobody was looking at each other, and they just crashed into
this
each
is
other.
Great high-low basketball. Getting against the zone, attacking the middle is always going to be important, and it sets up the high-lows. And when you have a finisher like Blossom Game on the bottom, Sidi Jite does the hard work, and Blossom Game just flexes his athleticism above the rim.
It's the 4th foul on Tyreek Jones.
And Jones, honestly, there was an innocent bystander, but his strength allowed him to knock down Jite just by extending that left arm as Jite was running back into the play.
So O'Mara's back out for Xavier. Now inside, but he cannot finish. Rebounded by Bernard. He kept his right foot down. He didn't slide it, so it's good. Great call, great non-call by the refs.
Agreed.
Pressure and a foul.
As you see Malcolm Bernard after the offensive rebound coming in, but even with the emphasis on traveling, he does establish that pivot foot. The right foot is his pivot foot and does not lift it up until he jumps for a shot. So, again, great no call by the officials. And, again, we talked about how with there being a point of emphasis, you can often anticipate calls. But they did a great job keeping their eyes on the actual play and making sure they made the right one.
We have college football, Oklahoma against West Virginia on ABC Saturday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. It's a 9-point game now. And Clemson is just struggling on both ends to stop and to score. Oh, Blossom Game just lost his balance for a second.
Well, he lost his balance because of a great move by Blewett. Blewett has it going right now. No question about that. He's feeling himself offensively. And just what Makira was doing for Xavier in the first half on offense, Blewett is now that guy. But a beautiful comeback pass by DeVoe for Jete to finish at the rim.
Talked about how the question marks for Clemson involve their backcourt, but if Jete can become that 25-plus minute player for this team, give them great defense, score a few buckets.
Well, this is great offense here. And a beautiful pass by Gabe DeVoe. DeVoe really has been impressive. I mean, when you look at a guy that has, come off the bench his entire career at Clemson, now getting an opportunity to be a starter with the injury to Shelton Mitchell, and he has really stepped up to the challenge. His shooting, but more so his playmaking and defense have helped him, make this team much better.
Nice cut from the weak side by O'Mara. He's got 6.
And Chris Mack really making the right calls at the right time. His team needed the basket right there. And instead of going to Blewett, he understands that he can have an opportunity to get O'Mara a bucket and does just so.
Look at this. It's good! Who needs to work on shots near the basket?
Jete does, because he's missing those. He's making a jump shot, so he needs to work on the shots near the basket.
An overplay by Jete ends up in a Xavier turnover.
And that's one, if you're Edmund Sumner, instead of trying to make that post feed, just dribble over to get a better angle so you get the ball into O'Mara much easier. We talked about his transition into being a point guard. That's one of those plays that shows you that he's not fully developed as a point guard, even though he is a tremendous talent.
I believe that's only his second turnover. He's got 5 assists. Here comes Holmes. Holmes with his first miss behind the arc. 2 for 3 now. The ball off the fingertips of Jete. It belongs to Xavier.
And as much as we talked about him in the first half and J.P. Makiro, he's made a great defensive play, and he's done the intangibles, but yet he still hasn't touched the scoreboard here in the second half. So Clemson made the adjustments necessary at halftime to defend him.
That was his first shot in the second half. Make that second shot off the half. As the ball is loose, it belongs to Clemson. Still a 9-point Xavier lead halfway through the second half. Xavier leads Clemson 57-48 in the second half, and that's only the first of 2 semifinals today. Later on tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPNU, Northern Iowa will face Oklahoma, and Northern Iowa had a great game last night. Great shooting game, but they were led, as usual, by Jeremy Morgan.
Well, Jeremy Morgan last year was really a role player, defensive stopper for UNI. However, he has stepped into that primary scorer role, and he did a tremendous job of it last night. They had everyone, it seemed like, knocking down shots from all over the floor, but Jeremy Morgan got the job done on both ends of the floor, and more importantly, UNI moving on for that date with Oklahoma. This is the third time for them that they've tried to set up this game, and now both teams win, and it finally works out.
Morgan, 20 points, 12 boards, 4 assists, 4 of 6 from behind the arc. It was fun watching the practice for UNI and watching Morgan become just another coach. He was literally just another voice coaching up his team, especially as they were practicing defense.
I don't think anyone wants to watch UNI practice, just so you know. Some of you guys out there won't get that until later, then you'll laugh.
Tough shot. It doesn't matter. Sumner now with 7 points.
And Xavier back into the zone. And the zone has been effective. However, Clemson has had a number of opportunities where they've been able to get into the middle of it. And as long as Grantham continues to make shots, it's going to be hard to zone Clemson.
"17 points for Grantham. Back to O'Mara. Nice.
And a fortunate gather there by Gooden. He lost the basketball. O'Mara was in the right spot to be able to bail him out. Chris Mack going to stick with the zone for right now, but if Grantham's able to knock down another shot, he may have to reconsider whether this is the right decision to play against Clemson.
DeVoe, short.
And that time the zone works. And what it does often force teams to be a bit more passive and take long shots in comparison to trying to attack the paint. So, that way, it's a win for Chris Mack on that possession to force Gabe DeVoe into a shot. But Gabe DeVoe, a very good shooter. He's not the guy that you want to give up looks to. And Clemson has a number of guys. They have 4 guys on the floor who can make the three-point shot. So you have to be very wary of that as you guard them in the zone defense.
Gaston comes in for O'Mara. Tough bounce pass. Here comes Grantham. Great defense by Xavier. A steal by Gooden. No-look pass. It was so no-look, Gaston wasn't expecting it.
And it's not the time for that. A freshman point guard in Gooden, very talented, but right there is not the time to try to make the no-look pass. You have to value the basketball in that possession.
Holmes from the wing, no good.
For the last 4 possessions of zone for Xavier, 1 3-pointer by Grantham, and then 3 miscues by Clemson. So when you think about that, the zone has worked for Chris Mack. And I'm sure that he's going to make Clemson have to find some type of adjustment to be successful against them.
Miscommunication again between Sumner and Gaston's got a couple of turnovers in a row.
You see Sumner coming off, and again, it's not a bad idea, but Gaston tells him, you've got to throw that up to the rim. That pass goes behind Gaston. If you're going to give it to your big fella, give it to him where he has a chance to be successful.
Blossom game, short. And the foul is on Gooden.
And Blossom game shot that shot about 3 feet short. But DeVoe in the right place to be able to come up with an opportunity to be able to get second chance points for Clemson.
Gite, of course, once again getting into the crack of that 2-3 defense to make the pass. Sunday at 5:30 Eastern, we've got the NCAA Women's Basketball Champs for the last 4 years on ESPN. Number 3 UConn Huskies are in Baton Rouge to battle the LSU Lady Tigers at the Pete Maravich Center. All part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's, also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. They won against Baylor 72-61.
And that game was at Baylor, correct?
Yes.
I mean, so when you look at UConn went to Florida State, they've gone to Baylor, and now they're going to LSU. You know, give Gino Auriemma a lot of credit, not only for taking on tough competition. Sumner makes a beautiful move to the basket to finish. But not only taking on tough competition for Gino Auriemma, but he's given America a chance to see probably the best college basketball program in the country.
Oh, another alley-oop. Grantham feeding Blossom Game. Had another one like that in the first game against Davidson.
That's a great way to be able to get the ball to Blossom Game. And we talked about in that game yesterday how you beat the zone.
That's the first move they made against zone.
When you've got an opportunity like that to have an athlete go make plays.
Holmes with the hustle. He lines up a three. It's in!
And amazing what the energy from that lob just did for this Clemson team and their morale. Just like that, a great defensive stop into a three in transition to make it a 7-point game.
DeVoe with the hustle. Holmes with the three. Holmes right now, 2 of 5 from behind the arc. Gite with the board. Offensive board for Clemson.
Not a bad shot.
Oh, backward shot by Blossom Game. And he wanted the foul too. Timeout, Chris Mack. It's now a 5-point game. A 7-0 run for the Tigers.
And with the momentum on your side, you do not mind that 3-point shot by Grantham. But a great job finding Blossom Game over the top for the alley-oop as the Tigers have found themselves a run.
Let's take a look at our drive of the game brought to you by Tire Pros.
Well, our Tire Pros drive of the game could also be called the Tire Pros flight of the game. They make the tires for airplanes, correct?
They do.
There we go. So Jerron Blossom Game going way up in the air to finish on the alley-oop. So not as much ground travel, but flight travel. But either way, you need your Tire Pros.
Only 2 points for him in the first half, and then all of a sudden, he's finding the rim. His teammates are finding him. He's got 9 points in the second half.
Amazing how infectious the energy was for Clemson after that lob, because they had struggled against the zone. After that lob, but then they come down, get a deflection, come up with a steal. Avery Holmes knocks down a three. There's a 7-0 run for Clemson right now to make this a 5-point game, and now they're believers in that they can win this game.
Akira with only 2 points in the second half after exploding for 21 in the first half. That's a career high. Here goes Gaston. Gite with another board. Rebounded by Gite. Beautiful move. Sidi Gite from Dakar, Senegal.
Wow. You know, his numbers, 11 points, 7 rebounds, are good numbers. But his numbers do not show the impact that he has made on this game today.
Fronting Gasson right now. Cura misses again. Holmes. Oh, beautiful block. Sumner with a denial.
And Sidi Gite on the offensive glass, carving out space, protecting the basketball, and then the beautiful move with the left-hand jump hook to be able to finish through the contact. The Tiger faithful are happy as they see their team now within 1 possession.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Tire Pros. Take the hassle out of tire buying. Find your local dealer today at TirePros.com.
To Tonight, an NBA doubleheader has the Warriors and the Celtics at 8 o'clock Eastern. And then, off to the West Coast for Kings and Clippers at Staples. Everything starts with NBA Countdown, charged by Mountain Dew at 7. And then, tonight, after the association, Sports Center at night with Mark and the coach. Highlights from every league. Sports Center at night after Clippers and Kings on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. And JP Mercure has had a wonderful first half with that career-high 23, but what about the second half?
Well, the second half, Clemson made adjustments, and Brad Brownell, a great defensive coach, so he's going to go in at halftime and find a way to make sure his guys get the message across that you cannot allow him airspace to be able to get off those easy looks like he did in the first half, and Clemson's defense has tightened up on him here in the second half.
Zone's gone. It's man-to-man right now for Xavier. Blossoming denied by Blewett and now doubled by Sumner. And he calls a timeout.
And a great defensive stance by Xavier coming out of the timeout. Clemson tried to run the same action they ran early in the game to get Grantham an early dunk, maybe on the first possession of the game. But you see, as they got the basketball in the hands of Sidi Jete, that time getting it to Blossom game, unable to score. But Jete has done great things with the ball in his hands earlier, outside of what happened at the end of that play, but knocking down jump shots, finishing at the rim. And then, of course, offensive rebound putback. Sidi Jate's input on the second half has been tremendous for the Clemson Tigers, and one of the main reasons that they're back within one possession of tying this game.
Points in the paint are just about even, a +4 for Xavier. 11 points for Jete. 6 boards as well. Eight seconds to shoot. There's Jete again, but it falls into the hands of Blewett.
And Jete doing a great job of playing without getting in foul trouble. He got his third foul on the flagrant one earlier, and then has done a great job staying out of foul trouble since. And again, a guy that only played 19 minutes in their first game and fouled out has done a good job since they've been here playing in Orlando of staying on the court.
Bernard with the offhand. What a beautiful move. Stretches out to a 5-point Musketeer lead.
And Malcolm Bernard, the graduate transfer from FAMU, Rasheed Gasson, the transfer from Norfolk State. These two guys have had big impacts on this Xavier team.
Blossom game gets fouled on the way to the basket by Blewett. Contact between those two all afternoon long.
And Bernard catches on the wing, does a great job driving and shielding off Gabe DeVoe, getting it up on the glass and not giving DeVoe an opportunity to even defend that shot.
I mean, it's a penetration, but he's got some low post moves. We saw that pivot foot staking down in the paint for the score off the left side. Now Blossom game to add to his 11 points. Told by Coach Brunell that he should not expect to see the same amount of touches, shots, points. It's a better team surrounding you now.
But yeah, with the front end of a 1-1, losing those 2 points right there when you're down 5
hurts.
They need those points.
Cura fouled, and it's is it Jete? It is. That's his 4th.
And JP Mercure not having the scoring half that he had in the first half, but still making those plays for his team to help them be successful. That time not knocking down the jumper, but going and actually playing in the post. And he's a guy that we've seen do pretty much everything. He's been a facilitator, distributing the ball to his teammates. He's gotten on the floor for loose balls, diving. He made probably the biggest play of the tournament so far in calling that timeout with 1.7 seconds left to go yesterday that set them up for the game-winning free throw by Edmund Sumner.
They're walking the dog here in Orlando.
I think I used to have that song on my little record player, believe it or not, when I was a kid. You don't even know Walking the Dog, do you?
No.
Okay. I would sing it for you, but I might infringe on somebody's copyright.
Foul. It's going to be on Gaston before the shot. We talked about matchups today. That's his 4th. I mean, matchups everywhere in this game.
And Brad Brownell going to take an opportunity as long as Jate is able to make both these free throws or make at least a second free throw.
64% last year.
To get a sub in for Jate. He had Robertson at the table first and then changed his mind. They're going to go with Marquise Reed if Jate is able to knock down this free throw.
Reed is 0 for 1 with 4 turnovers today. Cannot find himself yet. This is both.
And now if you count the 2 free throws on the 1 and 1, I mean, it was just 1 free throw, but you could count it as 2, the front end of the 1 and 1 that Blossom game missed, and then the 2 that Jate just missed. That's 4 straight free throws.
Foul on Blossom game. Second.
And remember, it was just a 3-point game. 63-60. Xavier was up 3. And for Clemson, they haven't showed much poise since that point. So now they're going to have to gather themselves and figure out, okay, we got to find a way not only to get stops, but put points on the board.
Bernard all the way to the hoop.
Man, he's good along that baseline.
Feels very, very comfortable in the paint. Almost a strip. Remember, he blocked Terrence Phillips yesterday. And a foul on the way to the basket for Grantham. 9-point Xavier lead.
We saw Malcolm Bernard operate on the right baseline. This time it's the low crossover on the left baseline. 9-point lead for the Musketeers.
Xavier enjoys a 9-point lead over Clemson in the Tire Pros Invitational. The first semifinal. We have another one coming up later on tonight. Rich Hallenberg and LaFonso Ellis will be joining you for Northern Iowa and Oklahoma. Remember, we also have Arizona State and Tulane at 5 o'clock Eastern, also on ESPNU. We've got plenty of basketball here in Orlando in day 2.
And a 6-0 run for Xavier, fueled by 2 baskets by Malcolm Bernard on each side of the court. First, the beautiful spin move back to his right to finish, and then driving to his left. Nice crossover to get back to his right to finish with 2 J.P. Mercure free throws in between. Made it a 6-0 run. Now Dante Grantham adding to Clemson's tab to try to break that run. But Clemson right now, they've got to find that poise. How are they going to be able to finish this game and try to get a win, which would be a great win for Clemson at the end of the year for their resume when you're talking about playing against the number 11th ranked Xavier Musketeers.
Well, those 2 free throws break an 0 for 4 streak from the charity stripe for Clemson. Now a timeout by Chris Mack.
Well, Chris Mack makes that timeout call because Brad Brownell comes back with the 1-3-1 zone defense out of the timeout. And so I'm sure whatever Chris Mack drew up was against a man-to-man defense, so a great call by Brownell to kind of disrupt the rhythm of Chris Mack and his team coming out into the timeout.
Clemson has not been to the tournament in 5 years. And we talked about how last year the Tigers had a 7-6 record.
7-6 non-conference. And then they got to the ACC, had a number of very big wins, and their ACC schedule would have allowed them to get into the NCAA tournament. Yet that 7-6 non-conference record, 3 losses to SEC teams that didn't play in the NCAA tournament, as you see their resume a year ago. And that's what Brad Brownell is, why they're bringing his team here to this tournament and taking on this quality competition. They needed to boost their non-conference conference resume.
2-3 zone. Mercure likes to do this. Huge rebound by Gaston.
And you see Gaston with his imprint on the offensive glass. And it's the different zone. The 2-3 is different from the 1-3-1 that Clemson was in before. And just giving Xavier different looks to see if they can throw him off rhythm.
Sumner all the way. His eyes got so wide when he saw the opening.
Actually, what happened, Jate tripped going out. He thought Sumner shot the basketball. So he was looking for the ball as Sumner went right to the rim for the easiest 2 points of his day.
DeVoe, beautiful three-pointer. Cuts the Xavier lead to 6 with 2.5 to go in regulation. Macura again. It's good. First points in the second half for JP.
His first field goal.
Field goal, sorry. Grantham, it's in.
Oh, it's gonna time out by Brad Brownell, but everyone felt as though that one got tipped while it was hanging on the rim. And you see Edmond Sumner getting the easiest 2 points of his game. As Jate goes out, you see him stumble. He feels as though Sumner's already shot the basketball and is going to the rim. And as he looks at the rim, all he sees is Sumner's elbows above it as he finishes for the dunk. And then, of course, Sumner making the play, getting the ball to what was the hot hand in the first half. J.P. Macura knocking down another three-pointer to extend the lead for Xavier. See Grantham as he goes to the rim, the ball's up, and that actually was tipped. Now, I'm not sure if it was Gaston or if it was Grantham, but the ball was tipped while it was on the rim.
Loose ball. Here comes Holmes. DeVoe drives. Almost lost the handle. Macura with the ball. And a quick foul on Sumner. With 1.5 minutes to go, the foul is on Blossom game.
Well, the way Sumner shot free throws so far in this tournament, that may not be a bad foul. That will be only the 7th team foul for Clemson, so this is a 1-and-1 for Xavier.
He made his only one that he had missed 4 when he made that one in overtime. That was gave this team the victory. A 3-point win against Lehigh. That was quite difficult. An overtime game against Missouri. This is the 7th-ranked preseason team in the NCAA. Now down to 11 or 10, depending on your point of view. And he makes both. 3 for 3 from the line.
And big free throws by Sumner. Not only for his team, but for his own confidence. As a point guard, you got to be able to go to the line and knock down free throws at the end of the game because you're going to have the ball in your hands.
Lockman again cutting down the baseline with a dunk.
And Clemson trying to go to full court pressure to see if they can come up with a turnover. But at this point, now you almost have to foul. You don't want to allow Xavier to continue to burn time off the clock.
Sumner simply loses it. Oh, as he jumps into the first row of spectators.
And you can hear Brad Brownell on the sideline at that point yelling, "Don't foul, don't foul." He saw Sumner out of control and was yelling to his team not to foul, even though earlier he probably would have encouraged it.
Grantham. In and out. Oh, easy pass over to Gaston for the dunk. A 9-point Xavier lead with a minute to go.
You know, and one thing, if you're Chris Mack, you're learning about your team. I think that's you want the ball in the hands of J.P. Macura at crunch time. He made a beautiful pass out of that trap. Very few people would even recognize where the open man is. And Macura, under duress, in the trap, makes a beautiful feed, full court, all the way down to Gaston for the easy dunk.
Macura leads this team in assists with 4 per game.
You know, and you talk about the 2 NBA prospects. in Sumner and Blewett for Xavier. But I think we've clearly seen maybe not who's their best player, but who their most valuable player is. In the 2 games that, we've watched Xavier here at the Tire Pros Invitational, J.P. McCure has definitely been the most valuable player for this group. I'm not saying that will be the case as the season goes along, as Sumner continues to grow in his role as a point guard. Blewett continues to become maybe the leading scorer. If we got a technical foul, it's a technical foul, I believe, on Rasheed Gaston.
Yeah. Chris Mack doesn't want to hear from Gaston. Yeah. It's 5th.
And you can see the conversation going on throughout the game. And again, this game is not out of hand, but Xavier, is in control of this game. As you see the conversation going on, and the official pretty much got tired of hearing what Gaston was saying. Now, Gaston pointing to the bench, basically saying that he was talking to his team. But here's the issue when it comes to something like this. You're in a tournament setting. These officials are going to be here in this tournament. Who's to say that these officials are not there in the championship game if they move on?
The ball all the way sealed and fouled.
And now, missing the first free throw, DeVoe has an opportunity to go to the free throw line to make this a 5-point game. Crazier things have happened. 36.6 seconds, 5 points. If DeVoe's able to knock both of these down, crazier things have happened. And a play like that by Gaston at the end of this game, that hurts your team.
Crazy things happen in that game between Xavier and Missouri at the end of regulation as well, and the overtime. As Xavier saw a late lead disappear. Foul on Holmes.
And that's not a bad foul. At the end of the day, if you don't get the steal, you want to be able to foul with as little time as possible going off the clock. Avery Holmes made a play on the basketball, didn't get it, but it was the right foul to make, sending O'Mara to the line.
O'Mara has made 5 of 6 free throws this year. 83%.
But still not in the double bonus, so it's a 1-and-1 for Xavier.
Makes the first. And now it extends to a 7-point lead, 35 and 0.8 of a second left. Reed misses. Sumner with the ball.
The game's not over. If you're Clemson, you can't just let Sumner go down the court.
He's finally fouled, and he will go to the line. Reed with the foul. 2 points, 0 for 2 today. 4 turnovers.
You know, we have to mention that both of these teams are playing without key guys that are going to help them as the season goes along, and Sumner misses the free throw. Still not sure what the certainty and the availability of Miles Davis will be for Xavier, if he will get back, but he would definitely be a great addition to the Xavier team if he's able to get back on.
Holmes with the missed free throw, 15 seconds. And he gets fouled. He'll go to the line. The foul is on Bernard.
And a great play to attack the basket by Holmes, not settle for a contested three, but try to put points on the board without time going off the clock for Clemson.
Holmes has made both free throws so far. 3 for 3.
And we talk about the absence of Miles Davis, and then you also have to think about 3 players that will make an impact for Clemson as the season goes along. Shelton Mitchell, who will be their starting point guard. Ty Hudson, who's suspended indefinitely. And then Elijah Thomas, the transfer, who will be available in December.
Quick foul. It's on Gabe DeVoe.
Now will be 2 shots in the bonus for Trayvon Blewett. And this is one of the guys that you want at the line if you're Chris Mack. He and J.P. McCure, you want these guys who have the experience of playing in this big moment, you want them taking these free throws at the end of the game.
There was a lot of focus after the Missouri game on free throw shooting by Xavier, and Chris Mack would have none of it. Because that's not the reason why we lost that game. Our offense is just not precise. We're not.
Well, they didn't lose the game. While they almost lost the game, they advanced on.
Our offense is not precise. We're not just. It's not even shot selection. It's the way we're screening, we're passing, our timing is off. We have to get that fixed. They had 34 turnovers in their first 4 games combined.
But you have guys playing a lot of different roles than they played a year ago for the Xavier team.
Reed shoved at the end with 7 7/10 of a second left. Today, 18 turnovers for Xavier. Sumner has 5 of those turnovers.
Well, we talked yesterday a bit about how Xavier really is playing without a true point guard. I mean, Sumner is a high-level prospect. He will be an NBA point guard, but right now he's not a college point guard, and that's part of the reason why this team struggles to handle the basketball the way that they do. They're going to have to make those plays by committee.
And again, a foul by DeVoe on Blewett.
Foul.
5 of 7, Trayvon Blewett so far this afternoon. 6 of 8 now.
And one right here. A make would make this a 2-possession game. Well, it's already a 2-possession game, but you would have to have 2 3-pointers, which would be difficult for Clemson to make happen in only 5.9 seconds.
But they'll try. DeVoe stepped on the line. He wanted to save a few seconds.
And I believe that will pretty much do it. Brad Brownell telling his team, get back, don't foul, just face guard, don't add more points to the tab. And if you're Clemson, you lose this game, it's not a bad loss. This is a good Xavier team, a team that will be heard of at the end of the year, NCAA tournament team. And at the end of the day, this will go on their resume as a good loss when it's all said and done.
It's been a very chippy game, but Xavier wins 83-77 over Clemson, and Xavier becomes the first team to go into the championship game on Sunday here at the HB Fieldhouse. They'll await the winner of Northern Iowa and Oklahoma coming up at 7 on ESPNU. Of course, we have Arizona State and Tulane coming up at 5 Eastern, also on ESPNU, both those games with Rich Hallenberg and LaFonso Ellis. So our final score is Xavier 83, Clemson 77. For Corey Alexander, this is Alvaro Martin. Let's send you now to the studio and Brandon Fitzgerald with Dino Gaudio.